Okay, you are not going to believe this. Sperm whales have accents, like actual regional accents.
Yeah, I know it sounds like a punchline to a joke, but the acoustic data is entirely real.
I mean, I am talking about a whale in the Caribbean sounding completely different from a whale in the Mediterranean,
Right.
and they aren't born knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
They learn their specific hometown accent from their grandmothers, and the babies literally have to babble just like human toddlers to get the pronunciation right.
Which completely forces us to rethink, how we categorize animal culture.
Exactly. So, welcome to this deep dive. Pull up a chair because we are getting into some heavy dinner table gossip today, Ocean Edition.
Yes, we are.
And I am making a direct promise to you, right now, by the end of this conversation, you will absolutely be reaching for your phone to send this to someone. Every time I think I have a handle on the natural world, a story like this comes along.
Oh, for sure. Especially because the layers to this research just keep unfolding. I mean, the newest acoustic models are showing that some of these whales might actually be, well, secretly bilingual.
Secretly bilingual. That is the part that still has me reeling. But okay, before we get to secret agent whales, we have to understand how they talk in the first place.
Right, the hardware.
Because when I started going through our stack of research for this,
Yeah.
my mind immediately went to whale songs.
Yeah.
You know, the big, sweeping, melodic stuff you hear on those relaxation playlists.
Yeah, the classic haunting whale song, but that is the humpback whale.
Right.
It's a totally different animal with a totally different evolutionary strategy. Sperm whales do not sing, they click.
They click, almost like a metronome.
Exactly. It's a highly mechanized process. And to understand how they produce this click, we have to look at their biology, which is, frankly, absurd.
It really is.
A sperm whale's head makes up a full 1/3 of its entire body length.
Which is just a massive piece of real estate.
Yeah.
We're talking about a head the size of a school bus just moving through the water.
And that massive head houses this incredibly complex series of chambers filled with a specialized waxy oil.
Okay.
So this whole structure acts like a giant acoustic lens. It's almost like a massive pinball machine for sound. The whale generates a vocalization, and it bounces around inside this huge oil-filled chamber.
Bouncing around, right.
Yeah, and the animal can actually manipulate the density of that oil to focus and amplify the sound before it fires out into the water.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it reminds me of the hollow body of a wooden acoustic guitar.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. The whole reason a guitar is built that way, with that big empty space, is to catch the vibration of the strings, let it resonate, and then project that sound across a room.
Exactly.
So the whale has basically evolved a giant, fluid-filled acoustic guitar for a head, but one that it can actively tune on the fly just to blast out a beat.
That is a highly accurate way to visualize it. And the resulting sound is intensely focused. A single click from a sperm whale lasts about 1 millisecond.
Wow.
Yeah, 1/1000th of a second. So it is shorter than the blink of an eye, but incredibly powerful.
Boom. Just a razor-sharp pulse.
But they don't just swim around making random clicks. They arrange these clicks into distinct structured patterns, short bursts, long pauses.
Like a code.
Exactly like Morse code. Click, 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 pause, click. Or, click, pause, pause, click, click, click.
So they aren't just making a continuous drone. It's highly deliberate.
Very much so.
If I'm following this, each distinct pattern is like a single unit of meaning. Like one of these rhythmic patterns could represent a word or maybe a short phrase.
The structure implies meaning, absolutely.
Okay, so they have this massive acoustic lens head. They fire off these split-second clicks, and they arrange them into Morse code words. That is biological hardware.
Right.
But here's the piece of the research that really stopped me in my tracks. Baby sperm whales are born with absolutely zero click vocabulary. None.
They emerge completely clueless about how to communicate.
Wait, what? They babble. They genuinely babble.
Yes. The acoustic recordings of calves are remarkably similar to the developmental stages of human infants.
I mean, a human baby babbles for roughly a year before they start locking in on words like mama or dada. A baby sperm whale babbles for 2 straight years.
2 entire years.
2 years of just making disorganized, chaotic noise in the ocean while listening to their aunts and their mothers, slowly, painstakingly trying to figure out how to operate that giant acoustic guitar in their head to match the family language.
And the social implication of that 2-year learning curve is profound. It proves that this communication is not purely instinctual.
Right, it's learned.
Exactly. If it were biological hardwiring, they would be born knowing the rhythm or they'd figure it out in a few weeks. The fact that it takes 2 years of practice indicates they're learning a culture.
They are actively studying, they are putting in 2 years of homework just to learn how to talk to their own family. And if a calf spends 2 entire years practicing these click patterns, they aren't just learning generic noise. There has to be a highly specific social payoff.
Yeah.
What exactly are they practicing to say?
Well, that is where the regional research becomes critical. To see that payoff, we have to look at the work being done in the Caribbean.
Right, the research by Shane Jarrow.
Yes, the Dominica Sperm Whale Project.
His methodology is incredible. He doesn't just drop a microphone into the water and guess who is who.
No, the observational rigor is intense.
Yeah.
Jarrow and his team spend thousands of hours on the water, visually identifying individual whales by the jagged edges of their tail flukes like a fingerprint.
Wow.
And then they match those visual IDs with acoustic tags that record exactly which whale is making which sound.
So over the years, he's actually built out their family trees. He knows the mothers, the aunts, the grandmother.
He does.
And by mapping out those families, his team realized that the whales off the coast of Dominica have a completely distinct vocabulary of clicks that nobody else on Earth uses.
The data reveals one specific rhythmic pattern they use constantly within this Caribbean group. It's a 1 + 1 + 3 pattern.
Right. And based on the context of when they use it, it essentially translates to, I am from the Caribbean, are you? It's an acoustic identity card.
What's fascinating here is that the accent is their identity, and you don't need highly sensitive audio equipment to hear it.
You really don't.
If you listen to a raw recording of a Caribbean whale and then play a recording of a whale from the Pacific Ocean, the difference is night and day.
Yeah.
It is as obvious to the human ear as hearing a deep Louisiana drawl immediately followed by a thick Scottish brogue. They belong to entirely different acoustic worlds.
I want you to just picture the reality of their environment for a second. These whales hunt for squid thousands of feet below the surface.
In the deep ocean.
Right, where there is absolute zero sunlight. Imagine bumping into someone in a pitch-black room. The very first thing you do is shout your hometown rhythm into the dark to see if the person next to you is family. You have to tell your group chat about this.
It's just an incredible survival mechanism.
It really is. In an environment totally devoid of light, sound is the singular, reliable metric to determine who is a friend, who is kin, and who is a stranger. Okay, so the Caribbean whales have their specific rhythm, and the Pacific whales have theirs. Yeah. That makes sense. They're oceans apart. But what happens if a group of whales shares the exact same body of water, but they culturally isolate themselves?
Well, to observe that, we look at the data coming out of the Mediterranean Sea. The sheer scale of this particular study is staggering.
Decades of data. Over 5,000 different recordings analyzed.
Yes.
And what they discovered when comparing the whales on the eastern side near Greece to the western side near Spain, it completely breaks the intuition of how dialects work.
It does. The acoustic analysis found that the eastern and western Mediterranean whales actually use the exact same bass rhythm. It is a 4-beat pattern, click, 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 pause, click.
So they share the same core language.
They do. But the execution of that language is entirely different. The eastern whales fire off that exact same rhythm at double the speed of the western whales.
Okay, hold on. Let me push back on this a little bit because it feels counterintuitive. They are literally in the same sea.
Right.
There are no physical walls in the Mediterranean. If they can swim freely, and we know adult males are migratory, they swim across these regions to mate, shouldn't those dialects just blend together over time?
You would think so.
Like when human populations mix, our accents dilute and blend. How do these whales keep the fast dialect and the slow dialect so totally separate?
It's an excellent question, and the answer comes down to a timeline that is just difficult for the human mind to grasp. Biologists estimate that these two groups of whales have been culturally separated for roughly 20,000 years.
20,000.
Yeah. To put that into an emotional perspective, that timeline predates the end of the last ice age. That is older than basically every spoken human language that exists today.
Oh, wow.
We are looking at an unbroken chain of cultural tradition that was echoing in the ocean long before human civilization even began.
So a male whale might wander across the sea and spread his genetics, but culturally, these two populations haven't spoken the same way in 20 millennia.
Exactly.
The researchers actually describe the difference as being like a fast-talking California Valley accent compared to a slow, methodical Boston accent.
That's a great comparison.
But how does a culture stay that pristine? for 20,000 years without getting watered down by the wandering males.
You have to look at the social hierarchy. You have to look at who is actually in charge of the society and who holds the knowledge.
The grandmother rule. This was easily the most fascinating part of the research stack for me. Sperm whale society is a strict matriarchy. Grandmothers run everything.
They are the absolute architects and guardians of whale culture.
The males grow up, hit a certain age, and essentially just leave the group. They roam around the open ocean by themselves, doing typical aimless bachelor behavior. Pretty much. But the females, they stay together in these tight-knit family units for decades.
The stability of those female-led families is the anchor of their entire existence. The grandmother is the library of the cod.
I love that.
She holds the generational knowledge. She knows the safest deep-diving routes. She remembers where the best squid are, and she holds the history of the ocean environment.
And because she is the one in charge, she is the one setting the acoustic tone. When a baby is going through its 2 years of chaotic babbling, it isn't just copying any random whale. It is actively copying the matriarchs.
Copying the grandmother.
Which means a grandmother today sounds exactly the way her own grandmother sounded hundreds of years ago.
Exactly. And we are finally gaining the technological capability to understand just how complex those interactions with the grandmother actually are, primarily through artificial intelligence.
Right. Project CEI.
The Cetacean Translation Initiative. The methodology here is groundbreaking. They didn't just have a computer count the clicks. They trained advanced natural language processing models on nearly 9,000 whale recordings.
And the ocean is incredibly noisy, so the AI first had to isolate individual clicks.
Like picking out a single voice in a crowded, echoing restaurant. And what the algorithms found completely shattered our previous assumptions.
Because they aren't just stubbornly repeating these grandmother-taught words like a broken record into the dark.
No, the AI identified contextual syntax. The whales are adjusting the tempo and rhythm of their clicks in real time to match whoever they are currently talking to.
It's a behavioral mirror. It makes me think of human social empathy.
How so?
You know when you hang out with a close friend from a different part of the country for a weekend? And without even realizing it, you unconsciously start adopting their slang.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or if they naturally speak very quickly, you start speeding up your own cadence to match them. It's an unconscious matching that humans do to signal connection.
Right. The scientific term is conversational turn-taking and rhythm matching. It requires a deep understanding of context, timing, and social structure.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The machine learning models prove that these whales are doing exactly that. They're having actual nuanced conversations.
They are listening, processing the incoming rhythm, and altering their own hometown accent slightly to say, I hear you, we are in sync.
Which is just wild.
It demonstrates a level of social and emotional intelligence that forces us to rethink our entire relationship with marine life.
Okay, so let's look at the big picture we've built here. We've established the biological rules, rigid family lines, 2 solid years of babbling just to learn your grandmother's exact rhythm, and a cultural isolation that preserves these dialects perfectly for 20,000 years.
An unbroken ancient chain.
But then the newest research data just completely upended that entire paradigm.
It did, and it represents arguably the most compelling mystery in animal behavior right now.
Get ready for this. Because some of those fast-talking Eastern Mediterranean whales, the ones whose identity is entirely tied to those rapid-fire clicks, they actually know both dialects.
The data shows they are bilingual.
They can switch. A whale will be swimming along, firing off its traditional fast Eastern clicks, and then, seemingly out of nowhere, it will switch and start using the ancient, slow Western click.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it breaks all the established rules of their isolation. For 20,000 years, these populations have been culturally separated.
No, they should know it.
The eastern whales should only know the fast dialect. That is their zip code. That is the only rhythm their grandmothers taught them.
But they somehow possess a slow one, too.
And the scientific community does not yet know why. They are secretly bilingual, reaching back into the acoustic past for an ancient dialect that their specific population drifted away from millennia ago, and they are speaking it in the pitch-black water.
It's like a teenager from modern-day Los Angeles suddenly breaking out into fluent, ancient, Old English poetry in the dark, and then immediately reverting to California slang.
It really is.
Why are they doing it? Who are they talking to?
It raises profound questions about the nature of cultural memory. Are they attempting to communicate with a wandering Western whale that happens to be passing through?
Maybe.
Or is it something far deeper? Is that slow rhythm a shared ancestral vocabulary that they only access in specific contexts? We simply lack the translation key to understand their intent.
It makes you realize how loud and incredibly complicated the ocean really is, and how entirely deaf we've been to its nuances this whole time.
We have spent decades looking at these creatures primarily as biological machines, when the data clearly shows they are ancient societies built on a deeply complex oral tradition.
I want to slow things down for a second as we wrap this up. Let's let the AI models and the acoustic data just fall away for a minute.
I agree. It helps to ground the science and the reality of their environment.
Imagine an incredibly old grandmother sperm whale. She is swimming in the pitch-dark water, 2 miles below the surface. A place so deep and so dark that the crushing pressure of it is almost incomprehensible to us.
Complete darkness.
She opens her mouth, manipulates the oil in her massive head, and she clicks. And the highly specific rhythm she makes in the dark sounds exactly, perfectly like her own grandmother sounded.
An unbroken lineage of sound echoing through the water.
And swimming somewhere nearby is her calf. A baby that has been struggling, making a chaotic mess of sounds, babbling for 2 entire years, driving the pod crazy with disorganized noise. But today, in the dark, the baby finally gets it right.
Yeah.
It lands on that exact, specific rhythm. The same rhythm from 20,000 years ago. The grandmother hears it echo through the water, and she knows instantly you're one of us. Let that just sit with you for a second.
It is a beautiful image, and it leaves you with a lingering thought.
What's that?
If these matriarchal families are capable of passing down exact, highly specific dialects, totally unbroken, for a period of time that predates human civilization, what other ancient historical memories or stories of the ocean are encoded in those clicks that we simply aren't smart enough to understand yet?
Oh, man. That thought alone is going to keep me awake tonight. The idea that there are 20,000-year-old memories echoing right now, 2 miles under the surface. Okay, this is the moment. If you haven't already, pull out your phone. You definitely have that one friend who is going to absolutely lose their mind over the idea of babbling bilingual whales holding on to ancient dialects. Text them this deep dive right now. Thank you for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next one.